So today's Friday, my meeting's on Monday, so I'm going to spend the whole day printing out paperwork so that I've got everything they could possibly ask for. So just today sat in front of my printer basically. So a guy did a study on decision making and looked at whether judges granted parole, and what he found was that the closer it got to lunchtime, the closer it got to midday, the less likely the judges were to grant parole. My visa meeting's at 11:30, so that's all I can think about. Anyway, back to printing. Visa day.
The next day.
So I didn't film any more yesterday because I basically got home, ate 2 pizzas and went to bed. But yeah, visa obtained.
Flawless victory.
Awesome. So it was pretty straightforward. Of the 400 odd pages I'd printed off, they looked at like 4 of them. It was a slightly different experience than I was expecting. I think like I'd always imagined, and I think a lot of people imagine it being like waiting for the doctors or something, you know, like you wait in a waiting room and then you go into a room and the dude interviews you, but it was a little bit different. Let me show you what it was like. So you go in and you get a number. It's like going to Argos in the UK, and then you go up these escalators and there's this big fuck off room and there's seats all over the place, and for some reason, despite coronavirus, they had us all waiting in these seats over here. All of this completely empty. Toilets were there. And then you wait for your number to be called on these screens. And rather than going into a room or stuff, there's just like booths. It's like being at the post office. There's just like booths there that are all numbered. And you go up and you chat to the person behind the booth. And then they ask you for your paperwork. And then you sit back down. And then you go up. So you can like hear loads of other people's conversations as well. So I was stood in the corner here because it was pretty busy. And I wanted to keep my distance, social distancing, wearing the mask. And there was a dude here who I could hear explaining what Hinge was to an immigration officer, which was very funny. Immigration officer was like, "So where did you meet your husband?" And the dude was like, "Oh, I met him on Hinge." And then just entirely deadpan, I heard the immigration officer say, "I don't know what that is." So yeah, that was a highlight of the day. But basically got there at 11:30 and then waited around, and I was done by about 1:30. Just sort of stood, dropped my stuff off. We had a chat about me moving to America, and they said, "We're very glad to tell you that you'll have a visa." So that comes in about a week. So I guess it's just planning when to move now. So just looking at dates and figuring out when I should arrive.
4 to 6 weeks later.
So I've not done any filming in a while because mainly nothing's happening. It's just been sat around waiting for things. So it's the 19th of December now. So I fly out on the 6th of January. The people that I've told have been like, "Oh, you must be so excited." And like, I am excited, don't get me wrong. Like, this has been a long time coming. I'm super hyped, but I know it's weird as well. Like, it's really scary. I don't know how taxes work or cars work or loads of the really basic life stuff that you just you never really get taught. You just absorb from being in it. And now I'm being thrust into an entirely different world that works differently, and it's, I don't know, probably overthinking it because it's probably not that different, but it just feels so different, especially with everything going on at the moment. So it's yeah, it's been a bit of a journey, and I'm not sure. I think it's the worrying about stuff and the sort of the thinking forward. I think once it just starts, you get into the mode, and it's the preparation anxiety that really destabilizes you. So I'm looking forward to getting moving. But yeah, 19th, so only a couple of weeks left and then I'm off. So it's Interesting time. So with my visa sorted, bags packed, and COVID results negative, it was moving time. Now I'm no stranger to airports. Between 2014 and 2018, I didn't go longer than 5 weeks without getting on a plane. Despite that, I'm still not a great flyer. So before I went, I asked my doctor for some sleeping tablets. I took the first one as we took off, and it knocked me out for about 20 minutes. He warned me that with my anxiety and adrenaline so high, they might not be as effective as usual, so I took a second one. And by that time, was high as balls. Rather than putting me to sleep, they just made me feel like the world was moving in slow motion. So with a further 8 hours in the air that I knew was going to feel like a fortnight, I just tried to lean into it. Embrace the slow and spacey feeling. And honestly, it was kind of relaxing in its own way. For the first time thinking about moving to America, I felt just purely calm. And then I got on the plane Wi-Fi and found out there was an armed insurrection in the cabin. Charlotte came to pick me up at the airport. We went home and started our mandatory 14-day quarantine. And that's where this entry finishes. But hit subscribe to stay tuned for more updates, like if you enjoyed the video, and tell me in the comments below the last time you were high as balls on a plane. Until next time, look after yourself.